Good day, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining my session. My name is Gorana, and I work in Melaska Consulting as a consultant for business productivity in Office 365, especially in Microsoft Teams. So during the past period, we had such a great experience in delivering Microsoft Teams to small and medium businesses, and I'm so happy that I have an opportunity to share that experience with you. So about the agenda, we are going to cover in the next 20 minutes about some of the communication challenges which small and medium businesses face today, and how we make the planning process and some frequently asked questions during the adoption of Microsoft Teams to these types of companies, of these sizes of organizations. And then I will share some tips and tricks how to make this process easier. And then at the end, we will going through some of the feedback we have received from our customers. So today, we all work in so busy working environment. We have so many tasks. We have so many projects. We communicate with many people. And small and medium organizations, if we compare them with the larger organizations, the large organizations have some strict rules, have regulations, what they can use or cannot use, like a software and applications for communication within the company. And small and medium businesses are more flexible. They don't have so strict rules of the applications, and sometimes, most of the time, people use too many applications for communication. And I have been a part of small and medium businesses. I've worked in a small and medium companies, and from my personal experience, I can say that I have lost so much time during that communication to find who asked what where, who shared file, was it the file shared via Outlook, or was it recorded on the server, or was it shared on some other communication service. So at the end, I was finding the documents, but I was losing so much time. The other problem the issue which face small and medium businesses is about the IT departments or lack of IT departments and lack of IT people, experts who work in the company like large organizations. Large organizations have dedicated IT department, and usually small companies have outsourcing of IT people or have just part-time experts working for them. So they face challenges about managing all that communication environment and devices. But implementing Microsoft Teams and adopting Microsoft Teams at our customer side was such a great experience for them and for us as well, because they got one centralized place where they can collaborate and they can manage by themselves. So we got so many great feedback about the managing process. There were like comments, oh, I don't have to be IT expert in order to manage my team. I can do it. I can create a team and I can manage. I can give restrictions or allowances to the team members. So the planning in details. Okay, we have a successful stories, but how did we manage to go through the process? The first question, I think that 99% of the businesses which we worked in the implementation of Microsoft Teams and adoption, they had one common question. Okay, where should we start? So the planning process, the adoption process is very important. The first step, where should we start, is the most important question in order not to make a mistake when you create the teams. Because when you open a team, an Office 365 group is open in the background. So a SharePoint team site will be open for that particular group. And then in your Outlook, on the left side, under the section of groups, you will see that group listed. So you don't want to end up with too many groups. And the best practice is to make a chart. We advise our customers to make a chart, not in the Teams, but to have a list and to draw how the organization of the teams is going to be. So there are not mistakes who should be member of which team, not to have double teams, etc. Now the second point which everyone, especially small and medium organizations, have to consider: can everyone in my company create a team? So you don't want to end up in those flexible way of working. Okay, we are here, we will discuss, and now everybody can open his own team. You don't want to end up with a million Office 365 groups in the background. So it is important, after making a chart, to see who in your company will be able to create those teams. The third question is, how should my team be organized? The experience is great, and the feedback is so wonderful from our customers, because they have channels, and channels for, maybe there are some new Teams users here, or people who consider to start using Teams. Channels are places within one team where people discuss under some topic. So they are divided by topics or by customers, or any way which you feel comfortable dividing and naming those channels in order your team to be more compact and to know where to search which information and where to collaborate on which topic within a team. So it is very good for the team members to have a place and save time in searching the documents and the topics they discuss about. There was a question so many times, on the beginning especially: okay, we don't need the new channel, we're going to create a new team for that project. If you have the same people, even working on a different projects, we advise, and our customers accepted that advice, and it was wonderful, because the creation of a channel within a team will focus on different topics. You don't need to open additional teams for the same people, even though they work on a different topics or different projects. Some of the additional questions which people had during the adoption process, they end up with too many channels and too many teams. We usually advise people to go step by step. Make the chart, create the organizational teams, make the channels, but sometimes even small or medium types of organizations end up with too many channels, because we all work on different projects and have different tasks, etc. So how can you manage all of these channels and information from those channels? There is a follow button, and it's very super, because when you click with one click on that star, which is on that channel, you can follow what is most important to you and get notification right away. So the feedback is great also, because the customers never miss anything. They just have notification on the left side of the screen of Microsoft Teams application, and they can follow everything that is going on within that team. The other question is about Skype for Business. The users use Skype for Business Online, they use Microsoft Teams. Can I use them both? Microsoft announced 2 days ago that Skype for Business Online will not be available now for users under the number of 500 seats, but the users which already have purchased Office 365 and have Skype for Business Online can continue using it. So sure, you can use them both, and Microsoft Teams is very flexible. You can create a meeting in Microsoft Teams, and people who use Skype for Business Online also can join that meeting. When we talk about the meetings, the experience of our customers, they use Skype for Business Online, but they start using more Microsoft Teams because it is a centralized place. They say, I love using Microsoft Teams for meetings, because during the meetings, we capture notes. We talk about, we ask questions, we record a meeting, and everything is set into that channel where that meeting was going on. So even though some of our team members wasn't able to join that meeting, no problem. He can or she can come later and review everything in that channel. So it's recorded, it's on one place, no losing time. Now, question about Office 365 groups. When you create a team, you can manually add team members. But if you already have Office 365 group, you can implement that group. So you can avoid that one by one members adding into the team. But one thing you have to consider, when you open a team, there should be a link, implement Office 365 group, create a team with existing Office 365 group. If you cannot see that link, that means that you are not the owner of Office 365 group, and you cannot implement that group. So you have to be an owner of the 365 group in order to make it, import it into Microsoft Teams application. Now I have placed here some additional questions which one customer has to consider during the adoption process. And the first one is everybody in the company ready for Microsoft Teams? So we advise the customers that they make sure that everyone within the company is very well informed about all the capabilities and features Microsoft Teams delivers, because we don't want to end up with people making tests and everything into the channels and teams, etc. And if you work with external users, we advise our customers to give access to those external users and to collaborate within Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams recently came application which is free to download, so there is an opportunity for your clients or your vendors or people who collaborate outside your company to have this application and to work with you on your projects. And the greatest thing is that everything is in your hands. So you can revoke the access of those external members anytime you want. So what can users do within a team? The great thing is that you don't have to be IT pro, IT expert in order to manage your own team. And our customers are so satisfied with this because it is very easy manageable. The application is very user-friendly. So every owner of the team can manage the team with just a couple of clicks and say, okay, I want this person, or I want these people, the team members, to be able to create the channels, to be able to, there is a full list of what people can or cannot do within a team. So everything is in your hands. And the one more thing, not the last thing, but one more thing, is the greatness that everything is really at one place. So there is integration with Office 365 groups, which personally we, in our company, use it. And our customers, especially small and medium businesses, use this integration on daily basis. They implement the Office 365 other applications as Planner, SharePoint News, etc. And for an example, Yammer. And they can follow everything they need within the channels. So that integration and collaboration between team members is very rich. And from my personal experience, I love this Teams application. I use it so much. It is the center of communication in a company where I work. And I find it very useful. And that's why I'm excited during the adoption process with our customers. And the feedback is great because they realize the capabilities and the features this Teams application offers. Now, some tips and tricks during the adoption process. So get tools to support a rollout of Teams. At the end of the presentation, I have included a link, a couple of links, for additional information where you can read and download some tools. It is Customer Support Kit, the first one, where you can find the documentation and you can just inform the people within your organization and team members about this application. The second one, the second tip, when you start using Microsoft Teams, is to create a pilot group. This pilot group will show you the right track, how you should develop your teams and your organization. We advise, and our customers found very useful, creating an onboarding space. So when you have set a channel, set a team, and the first one, the general channel, we advise to be a place when you have onboarding documents. So, okay, you have educated your employees, but maybe there will be some new employees in the future, and you don't want to train one by one every time. So this onboarding space will give as much as information for the customers as much as you put inside. You can implement YouTube videos, you can attach documents, you can have files which will help your customers and which will help you to have a place to collaborate from the first day person starts to work within, as a team member within your team. Additional tips and tricks. Enrich your team with add-ons. There are so many add-ons and external connectors in Microsoft Teams that the point is to give your teams as much as resources as you can. So the people will come within that channel and they will come into that team to get the information also, not only to collaborate, to chat, to have meetings, but also to see the additional information which these external connectors can provide them. Of course, the one great thing is integration with Office 365 tools. So when people work within a team, they work on some projects, they have tasks. So we advise our customers to implement, for example, a planner. The planner is another tool within Office 365 set of applications, which provides the clients to use to create tasks, to work on projects, etc. So it would be great for one team to collaborate, to chat, to have meetings, to have those external connectors, but also to have implemented the Office 365 services that they are already using. So there will be no, I will have to open additional tab or something for the additional service. You can have it implemented in Microsoft Teams. Follow what is most important to you with the following buttons so you will not miss anything. And of course, there is desktop mobile application for Microsoft Teams, and it really helps the users to be always connected with the fellow members. So for an example, there was a feedback from one customer. She got stuck on the road a couple of days ago, and she said, I had a meeting, but I had my phone, and I had my app, and I just went on the meeting. Great, and the meeting was recorded, so I could review it afterwards. So install on every your device, and you will be informed and you will catch up with the team members anytime. The feedback, first of all, there is a feedback from our customers. They are very satisfied because this application is improving constantly. Microsoft listens to the voice of the users, and they are making more and more features which are available for the customers to be satisfied and to be more productive. Always connected with those mobile applications and desktop applications. Even you don't have to bring your device. You can connect via any device you want, anytime, on any place, and collaborate within your team. And the great thing, which I love, is that everything is really, really on one place, and that saves time and saves effort. Of course, the adoption process is very easy, but let me remind you one more time, it is very important to make a good planning in order the adoption process to be very easy. Otherwise, you will get everything mixed. And of course, the easy administration. That's really, really great feedback from our customers. I would like to add just a kind reminder about the good planning, and not to be shy to ask any question you want. It's better to ask questions and to make the application works good than to make testing into the application or not to have any questions. And if you don't come with an answer, just ask for a support. Now I have included the link which leads to Microsoft Teams free application and some additional resources which, because this presentation is going to be available on Microsoft Ignite website, you can review it and you can visit all of those resources. I will be at the Microsoft Teams booth, so if you have any question about Microsoft Teams, if you would like to share your story, your experience, or talk about this application, or if you would like some demo, I will be happy to talk to you. Thank you very much for your attention, and please evaluate my session.